Hello guys, it's your guy Frank Maro, and today we are going to take our lesson 3. And today we'll be looking at how to start with our softwares. Like I'm talking of our dev C++ or our C++ compiler offline. That's for the Android version, and also we have the iOS version. So our apps is ready, and so far what we've done, we want to practice it and see how it relates to actual coding. We've done variable declaration, even assigned values to variables, and today we are going to know how this reflects in actual coding so far. I'm Frank Naro once again, and let's get started. So today the first thing I'm going to talk about is the \n in coding. In C++, wherever we see \n or endl, that's full end line, it means we are breaking a line or a text. For example, I don't want the text to be in a horizontal way, but I want to break some text, so it will be in that order, vertical form. So I'll have the first line, second line in that order. For example, let's have some examples over here. Maybe I want to write Kofi is going to school. We know that this text is in horizontal form, and if I introduce this \n over here, then definitely the output will be in this way. So it will be in this way. So it will bring the flowing text to the next line. So that's the \n or the end line. And let's go straight into our code and see how it works. So first of all, we will create a new code. And creating a new code, let me talk about the second one so that we'll merge the two and we'll practice it. The second one is cout. That's how I call it. I call it cout, and with double quote, and our text should be in between this double quote. But if we are displaying a variable, then we will just write the variable name not in double quotes, but if it is ordinary text, it will be in double quotes. Why cout? As the name implies, C out. We want to view that thing outside, or it should give us a display. And we also have C in. That means it is going inside into the system, meaning it is accepting input. And doing that one, we will write C in greater than then the variable name, where we will store that value to that variable name being assigned over here. Let's have this practical way. So let's launch our app. We will be taking the first and the second one at a time. So let's launch our app. Okay, so we will create a new project. So you just hit on File, then New, then hit on Project. Or you can use the shortcut here. This one. This opening, the first one is new. We hit on new, and we select project, the same thing. We have Windows applications, but for now we are not looking at the Windows application side. We are looking at the console application side because it serves as a basic for us. So we just hit on console, and we will just hit OK, and it is asking of a project name, so we can assign any project name to it. So we can say first project or first code. Yeah, this sounds good. First code. Yeah. Then hit on OK. Then let's see. Yes, no. I've already opened some. So it is asking of where to save our entire code, and it seems I'm having a folder here. I'm having some folder here called project 1. Yeah, nothing is in, so I'll save it over there. So I have this home screen interface. This code here is the main block or the structure for C++. And within this structure, we are having a main block where execution takes place. So if we write codes outside the int main block, meaning those codes won't be executed when the source code is being run, unless those codes outside the int main are being referenced in the main block. In that way, whenever the code execution is going on, when it reaches the line where those codes outside the main block is being referenced, then it will go and check outside the main block, execute codes in that block, and come back to continue its code execution. So let's try to run this and see what will happen. So we will be using compile and run, and the shortcut is F11. So let me use that here, and it is asking of the main class, so we will just hit on save, as it will automatically generate a main class for you. So you see our main class is being generated, and it is telling me that it returned value 0, and it is over here. It always returns 0 because the int main is a void, and void is a return null statement or 0. So it is 0 for now, and it is telling you when you hit OK or hit any key, then it will exit. That's all. Press any key to continue. So let's hit enter, and now our code has been successfully executed. Let's try to display some messages and play alongside it. Variable declarations. So here we said when we want to display any message, we will be using cout in double quote. So let me copy and paste here, or let me so cout less than in double quotes. Then I will terminate to end that line. I want to display this text. Trying to display message. Okay. So I want to display this text, and let's try and run and see. Wow, it is giving me a red line over here. Why? Let's check it over here. Down here it is showing a solution to get out of it, and the first line is telling you in function int main characters, and let's move on. Cout was not declared in this scope. Wow, meaning it is not finding cout to be a keyword within the int main. Why? Let's move on and see. Suggested alternative. So let's look in the included from the main.ccp. It is asking of this one. So cout is found in the namespace std. So it is found in this namespace. Outstream cout is found in that namespace. So fine, we know the solution now. So what should we do? Very simple. Let's go back and declare this namespace so that you can have it. So we will tell the program that it should use that namespace so that the cout will be recognized. So using namespace std, then let's terminate and run again, and boom, you see. So we have the message over here trying to display message. Wow, it came. Very good. So let's try to at least use the first one, that's the Endline. So let's try to add some messages to it. Okay, in replacement of this one, let's try this one. Sorry. Okay, this is line 1. Then I'll bring / in. Let's continue. This is line 2. Let's run and see. So boom, you see this is line 1, and there is a break over here. This is line 2. Let's try to remove the \n from the code and see what will happen. So I will take it out and let me run again. So you see, it is on. Then when the \n is out of the code, we have it in the horizontal form. But when we insert it, then we get the vertical form, meaning it will break it into lines. It doesn't mean that always we need to have the text in this form before we can break it into lines. Let's try this one. Someone may ask, say, what about if I will take this code out, move to the left line, bring another C out, and paste the code there and terminate. It seems this one, it will break by itself. Let's try and see. And still it remains in the same line because the code execution is one after the other and the termination sign just separates the line. It separates the line, but it doesn't break the lines. So it tells the code, the execution that there is the first part. But move on, there is the second part because there is a termination sign. So how are you going to solve this? You have two ways of solving this. Either using the end line or the \n. \n means break line. So I can put the \n here and execute, and it will definitely break. So when it reaches here, it will break the next one to the next line. Let's try this. So you see, it breaks it. And let me try and put this one. Let me take it from here and put it here and see what will happen. So the same thing. So either putting it here or there, it will break the line. What about we using the other one, the end line? For the end line, you see, after writing all your code like this, if I want to end it, all that I need to do is just bring another this sign less than, and then I'll write end line. Let's run and see. So you see, it breaks again. So at times I'm not all that. I will not all that recommend you to use this one because you type a lot. So just move on with the \n. But if you are familiar with the end line, not to confuse you, very good. You can move on with the end line. But always remember that end line also takes C out. Always remember. Why am I saying that? When I put here end line, let's run and see. There's an error. So if I want to write this end line, I can either put it in this way in this way, or I can put it another C out, then less than, then I'll put it here. Okay. Let's try this one and see. In that way. So when anytime you are writing a display format or a C out code just to display a message, you can do it horizontal form or vertical form. And there is the vertical form. I can write all these line of codes, these 3 lines of codes on only one line. How? Since I've already initiated C out here, all that I need to do is just bring the double less than, then I'll move on with the next thing I want to introduce, then I'll move on in that way, like this way. I'll just clear this and add it to this one, then let me clear this one and add it to this one. Let's run this. So you see, it is working. because I have already introduced this one over here. So by default, it will pick it that this is over here, and at the same time, the same thing is over here. So it will do that for you. But to make your code very nice, I will prefer you using this one. Just introduce this, no problem. Just use it. Just use it. Then make sure you add your double quotes. So you can use it in this way, and you are good to go to make your code very nice. You see, this is nicer than the first one. So we are done with the first two parts. We are done with the first two parts, and let's move on to the third part. That's the seeing, that's accepting variables. So let's try it over here. Let's take this out. Let's take this out, and we will say enter an integer. So let me make it like this. Let's run and see. So we are having enter an integer over here, but you see there's no sign, or there's nothing here showing that you can input anything, because as soon as you press any key, it will exit. So now we want to give the user the chance to input his integer. How are we going to do that? We will use the seeing, then the greater sign, the seeing and the greater sign, and so greater than maybe A. Let me terminate it and see. And as I said over here, it is seeing greater than then the variable name being declared. So if you want to use A, we have to declare it first. So let's try and see if it will work without declaration. And yeah, it is telling us that let's see, A was not declared in this scope, so it is not finding A. So let's declare A, and the short form of, we are saying we are accepting integers, so we will declare A as an integer. So A data type will be integer, and the variable name will be A. So the short form of integer in C++ is int, so int A. Then I will terminate it. We can go by this, or by default we will assign 0 to it by default. We can either maintain it this form, or we will assign 0 to it. And I will always prefer you assigning 0 to your integer value, or you can leave it like that. But I do assign something to declared variables, and at times I ignore, so no problem. So let's run and see. And see, it is true. And this time around, you see, press any key to exit, it's not showing, or press any key to continue, it's not showing, because this time around it is accepting input. So enter an integer. So you see now the numbers are coming here. Very good, very good. And when I hit on enter, you see it comes here. Press any key to continue, and when I hit on it, it was it, because this line of code came, and this was the input, and the last one was returning 0 or exiting. Very good. So now we're able to declare A, and also assign, giving the user opportunity to input any number to be stored in A. So let's view, or let's see the input value. Maybe I input 54. We want to display the input value to the user, back to the user. How? Then we will use our cout, because any display is using cout. Cout what? Cout in double quote A. Let's terminate and run and see. Because since we said any cout comes along with a double less than sign and a double quote. So everything should be in the double quote. So let's see. So 54, enter key, and what's here? A. Wow. Why A? Because A is in a double quote, and everything within the double quote is seen as a raw text. But this time round, A is not just a raw text, but a variable holding a value. So if you want to call A and find the value within A, then it should be outside the double quote or without double quote. That's it. So let's remove the double quote and see what happens. So the quote is out, and let's run again. So 54, let's hit enter. You see the 54 comes down here. Now we are displaying what's in the bucket A. We've stored it in a bucket A, and now as soon as we use this one, we are displaying back to the user. Very good. So let's add some few stuffs, and your first assignment will be on some little calculation, adding two numbers. So let's see if I here maybe int b is equal to 0 terminated, then I'll say here cout cout means it is displaying the text to the user. So first the code reaches here, it will first create this bucket first, then it will reach here, then it will display this text, enter an integer, then there will be a blinking line to accept this integer to be entered, then it will store in bucket A being declared up there. Then after that it will display, as soon as I hit on enter, it will display this text to the user again, enter another integer, then we will accept that integer. No, greater than means it is going in, and less than means it is displaying, it is giving out. So then this time I'm storing in B. I'll terminate, then we will perform some small calculation, but let's accept this input before we move on. You want to accept this input before you move on. So let's run it and see. So enter an integer, maybe 7, enter another integer, maybe 8, and you see the code exits. I hope to this point we are all through and we are all clear. You may ask, why is this one not in the horizontal form, but it is breaking itself by automatic? Yeah, by automatic, after each input it will break the line for you. But you see, the margin between the two lines will be very thin or very small. So I will always advise you to introduce your own break line, that's the backslash n, at the back of this one, or that would be perfect at the back of this one, because it will be accepting inputs in front of this one. So it should be at the back of this one, so that this one will move to the next line. So let's run and see. So for enter, you see there's a big space between the two, and it makes it very beautiful. But let's put this here and see what will go on. So when we put it over here, you see with this one, instead of the input coming here, it is now moving downwards, because the backslash n will affect the input, not the text, because the text is not next to the cout over here. So let's maintain this one. So we will take it from here. and you make sure that it should be over there. Okay. So now we've been able to write a small program to accept two numbers, or we've been able to declare those variables that is being led. We've been able to declare it straight away in our apps, both on our phones, on our laptops. They are all working in this way, and we've been able to also view. We've been also able to view the test. So now our final thing is to perform this calculation. Like we add the two and give out the answer to the user. And how are we going to do that? We will create another bucket, like maybe C. And in C will be a bucket to contain A and B and add them. Then the final answer will be stored in C. For example, I want a different color, but I'm having paint yellow and paint red, or paint blue and red, right? But I want a different color. I'll get another container, pour some of paint red and pour some of paint blue, and as soon as I mix in the new bucket, you have a different paint. So same as with this one. So we will just move on. After the input, we will say, oh, bucket C, your job is to put value in the bucket A, and when you hold it, you add it to the value of the bucket B, then the answer should be stored in C. So now let's see the answer we get out of this input. So I will use C out to display the answer as we did. So less than what? We want to display C. Should we put C in quote like this one? Should we put it in quote? No, because if we put it in quote, it will see the C as raw text. So C will be coming, or it will be showing. Let's try and see what I'm talking about. Always remember to terminate each line of code. So you see 45 plus 5 is 50, but you see the answer is C over here, meaning C has turned to a raw text, and we need to break C, give it a space. So we will first remove C from the double quote and run a C2. So 5, and you see the answer is 50 over here. Wow. Let's give it a little space. How are we going to do that? We can either introduce the end line like this one, end line. Then you bring another less than, because C out is already declared here. But not to confuse you, you can just do this. Come here and write another C out over here. I'm sorry, C out over here. And if you run, let's see. So you see 5 plus 5. You see there's a break over here, and you have the 10 over here. Or we can also do it in this way. Let's write it this way. I'll write some little text in C out. Then I will first introduce our \n to move this to the next line. Then I'll do this. Then I will introduce this one and do C. Let's try this one and see. I'm giving you all the alternatives to break the line, so that you yourself, you choose one and use it, the one you are familiar with. So let's say 5 plus 5. You see still it is breaking, because here I am saying there will be a test here, but the test should move to the next line. So it will first move here to the next line, this here, before it will show this C. So there brings this break. Or I can show some test. The answer is then space. Let's run this one and see. 6 plus 6. The answer is 12. Very good. I can also show the inputs. Those inputs you enter, like I can also say the answer for, then I will introduce this. You input your A input in A, so I will display A, then in double quotes I will see plus another this thing B, then I'll bring another quote, and within this quote I will introduce an equal to sign and on this way. We've learned that by default this cout is over here. This is the same as, let's run and see. After that I will explain the code to you. So let's run and see. Oh wow, there's a problem. Okay, let's break it so that we get it right. Okay, so let's terminate this one, then we will not break the line, we will move on. So I'll write another cout over here, then we will display A here, then I'll terminate, then I'll write another cout over here. Sorry, it was here. Let's try this one and see. Yeah. Also here, I forgot to bring those less than. And you see when I brought it, it is working. So let's see. 4 plus 5. And you see the answer for 4 plus 5 is equal to 9, showing here. This is the same as the first line. I will not bring any less than backslash n. That's, I will not break the line, but I want it to be in the vertical form. I'm just breaking my code. So cout A, it will display A. Then I'll terminate. I'll bring another cout here to display the plus by space between the plus in double quote, so it will tend to be a raw text. Then I will terminate another cout, and we will display B to be added to the normal text on the row. This will be on the row because there is no backslash n or end line to break what I'm doing. So it will still be on the row cout. Then this will be a raw text displaying the equal to sign, but with space in between the space at the side of the equal to each side. Then I'll break this one. Then the last one cout. Let's run this one and see if we have the same result. So 7 plus 8, and we have the same result. So thank you very much for this lesson. I want you to try your hands on writing a program to subtract two numbers. Thank you very much.